Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Tottenham Hotspur 0, Everton 1. What a great start to the season. What a great start to the new era at Everton Football Club. This is day one of the Carlo Ancelotti era, as far as I'm concerned. This is the beginning of...
It was yesterday, not day one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know what I mean? I'm just talking about this game. Not this game. It feels like a big moment for Everton fans, that almost like we can start not believing in like we're an amazing football team, but just start believing maybe that this project is going in the right direction and it's all coming to fruition, that everything we hope for.
Hopefully. It was a great start, wasn't it? It's sitting there watching it yesterday and it was just so enjoyable, and then buzzing last night, buzzing this morning. You know, you wake up, it's a lovely sunny day and you're top of the league, joint top of the league. Mm-hmm. No, it was a great feeling, and it wasn't a smash and grab. It wasn't a game where you've nicked the win. It was a game against a so-called big club, top six, club that they call it, even though Everton are a traditional top six club, so I don't know what that meant.
Team not finished in the top six.
Yeah. And we have done many times. 40 games without a win against a team like that away from home. And it was done in very stylishly, I would say. There was lots of different elements to the performance, and that's the most pleasing thing for me, that we've gone there and they're a good side, good manager, and we've got the 3 points and come away with it. So much so that I've put the studio Everton top on.
I'm representing
for this.
You're representing Dom. Available now at all good Toffee TV shops. Well, not all good retailers, because we're the only people who sell it.
Yeah.
No, it was just really nice to witness an Everton side go somewhere and compete and have a plan and have players who were better than the opposition's players. I mean, but that's fundamentally one of the big the big things, isn't it? It's looking at two teams and going, we've actually got a better team than you, and in this game, because he made some big decisions. The team came out and we decided to play all three. We both thought he'd probably play the two midfielders and maybe leave Hammers out, but he decided he was fit enough and he'd done enough. And I suppose the way to look at it is that Carlo Ancelotti probably thought about the whole picture and thought, with everything going on within teams' pre-seasons, that this game was never going to be 100 miles an hour. It was never going to be to the level of what we think of Premier League games are, and it was probably worthwhile getting him into this game, getting how many minutes? In the end, it was 90 minutes, wasn't it, under his belt? And get him on the ball and get a bit of confidence in him, and it all worked. It all worked supremely well, and you seen it early on. We started to just get hold of the ball and move it a lot better than they did. And there was a confidence in the way we were playing. You could see it was straight off the training ground. It was clearly had been day and night on the training pitch what he wanted from them. And last year we were obviously very down about our team, but you put the right players in there, and the right players that they've obviously selected, been there pretty much their first choices, and you could start to see what he wanted a lot clearer. Yeah,
I mean, let's not forget that it was only really post lockdown when things fell apart. In the Ancelotti, since Duncan took over and then Carlo took over, up until lockdown, it was all right. We were all right, weren't we? Yeah. We knew we needed to improve. There was no question about that, but it was really post-lockdown in those 9 games. Then we come back after the first couple, when we got results. It was just glaringly obvious that it wasn't enough. We didn't have enough to compete at times, and he's gone out and got what he needed. And you look at the 3 lads who come in. James was the big shock to me, absolutely, because I thought maybe he'd want to take the time with him. But then, like you just said, and Carlo, to be honest, said it in said it in his post-match, that he'd asked the medical men, you know, the fitness levels of all the players, and they were all fine. He trained well. We knew Doucoure would be fine. He'd been training since the 10th of August, I think it was, or something like that. We knew that Allan would be fit, really, because he'd been training with Napoli, and he'd only had a fortnight off, I think. So we knew that they'd be ready, but James was the surprise. But when you're that talented, you buy yourself time on the ball. And I think the biggest thing that surprised me about him was his willingness to throw a tackle in as well. You know, there was a couple of 50-50s that he didn't pull out. You tend to think of players who've got that ability, and, you know, I know South Americans are fantastic at having that will to win, aren't they? But he didn't back out of anything. There was a couple he went right through, you know, and he didn't share his challenges. So it was just a brilliant start. Yeah. You're right, everything just worked.
And we'll talk about James a little bit more, but and Allan. But you forget that. No, certainly these South American players, the conditions, the amount of times they get kicked, they have to look after themselves. It's not the same. I suppose it's not the same thing about someone's injuries. And it's because they're soft. It just seems that it just happens with some players. We've seen plenty of players. We one of the top of my mind is someone like Fabian Delph, who we look at and you think he was a hard character, but he's forever injured. Do you know what I mean? It's not nothing to do with he goes round putting himself in situations. He gets injured on the training pitch, walking the canteen, apparently. But I just thought there was a real confidence the way we started to play, and we built in the, you know, and we kept doing it, and it wasn't. There was never a moment where I was like, oh, they've switched off now, or they've got bored, because we've had that in the past where the players, and I think this comes with probably lesser players, a tendency to go, it's not working. I've lost confidence in it. I think the better your player you've got, and the more confidence they've got in their manager, the more you keep playing. You trust in what your manager wants. I think I think that's what comes from the very best. See, the two teams are at the top of the league. That's what it comes with. If you've got players who fully believe in what their manager wants, you'll just keep doing it and believe in the process. Whereas I think lesser players sometimes just panic and revert back to the basics, and it doesn't really get you anywhere. Do you know what I mean? So I was really happy that we just kept on playing, and we weren't. Don't get me wrong, we weren't making chances, but we were just keeping the ball. And I think that's demoralising for the opposition. You know, when you can't get a sniff of the ball, you're playing at home. Okay, there's no fans there.
There's a tempo to the game, isn't it? And Everton set the tempo. We were on it right away. We were getting, everyone was getting touches. I think there was a stat that I'd seen that every player of our team passed to James in the first half, every single player, which obviously, whether the message was in the dressing room was just get the ball to James. But it was the likes of Doucoure striding around, winning tackles, just being a presence. It was a calmness in which Allan had a foot on the ball, and it was always just find a shirt. There was lovely little triangles going on. But the way we set up, I thought, was interesting as well. Obviously, we've seen a little bit in pre-season, the two games we'd had, that there was a slight change. Obviously, we had Richarlison wide off the left. James was wide on the right, but with that licence to come inside. And everyone just worked hard. And you know what? There wasn't many times that Dom was isolated, really. And that was a big thing. When you play that system, you've got to make sure that you get people in and around your centre forward. If he's the pin, you pin it, you're knocking it into and you want him to keep it for, you've got to get up and help him out. Yeah. There wasn't many times when he was isolated, Dom, and that was a key. And it was just, I thought the two centre-backs were magnificent, the pair of them. Just dealt with Harry Kane's one of the best strikers in Europe, probably in the world, really, goal-scoring-wise. And they give him nothing. Give him nothing. And it was all of that. And that what happens is everyone builds. But you mentioned it right at the start there about Ancelotti. Well, he's got two players in. And we've said this to Andy in conversations, haven't we, about you want a tempo setter in. Allan's the tempo setter, but he also knows exactly what the manager requires. James has played with him twice, loves him, which is why he's here. Let's be honest, he's here because of the manager. He's not here because Everton and this amazing brand. He's here because of the manager. And they know. And then I seen an interview with Dom after the game, and he mentioned James. He was just a smile come on it, and he was like, when you see those kind of players, because what they do is they come in, they know what the manager expects, so they do what they know the manager expects, and other players then go, I need to do that. And Doucoure coming, he wanted to come in. I think Doucoure would have come to Everton, whoever was the manager, it was that he wanted to come and play for Everton. Ancelotti makes them a lot shinier, of course he does. He wants to be there, so that sets everybody else up, it lifts everybody. And there was times yesterday where people were looking, our players were looking, and it was into Allan, and he was holding people off, popping it off. Everyone gets a confidence then, and an arrogance.
There was part of yesterday's games that felt to me like, you know, when you have a testimonial and you get like guest players playing for you, that's what it felt like to me at times. Because it just felt like so weird that...
Tom said to me when I trumped him at Edmonton, when he went to watch Match of the Day and shared the scene like a good move, and James had a shot and like it just cut to him in an Everton shirt, and I was like, what's going on here? Because he's played for Everton.
This isn't right. No, but it was like, it's funny because you said before, you know, like getting the ball to James, you know, they had a week of training with him. They will have seen what he can do in training. Yeah. They'll have been licking the lips, and the amount of times the ball got popped out to him on the right, and then he just cut inside and then played the diagonal over to Richarlison on the other side. Or Dean, and it was every time it was on, and it was just like, you were just thinking, these are going to have a field day.
They couldn't get near us, that was the problem. Yeah. There was one where he comes inside, and Dele Alli's chasing him, and he just drops the shoulder, and you see Ali's, the anguish in Ali's face.
I actually seen a piece last night. I think it was written by someone who was, I think it might have been someone who was South American. But they were saying, James and Dele Alli are supposed to be the same kind of player, and he went, the awareness. And it's something in a general, it's not something about Dele Alli, it's not something about him playing for us, but he said the difference is like night and day. Like James Rodriguez tactically is like on a different level to someone like Dele Alli. Dele Alli doesn't understand where to drop into the space, when to do something, when not to do something. He said, but James Rodriguez does. And he said yesterday, where a lot of people thought he was going to struggle. And listen, you don't know, do you? Because players come into the Premier League and you don't know whether what their level. And also, when you don't watch a player every week, you don't know how good they are. You see bits of them, and we obviously listen. You go back to the World Cup and stuff like that. You see bits of them, and you see bits of them playing in Spain, but you don't always understand what their level's like in Spain. And then you get to see them, and for me, it was just like I actually put a tweet out on, if you ever played a game with an ex-professional, and they've always got time, and the touch is immaculate, and they always, if you put your hand up, they find you, and it's just like, you know, anyone who's ever been in one of those situations knows what it's like.
He's just levels. He was levels above anyone on the pitch.
But it gets you excited, doesn't it? Because you know, if you're playing in one of those games, and these way, like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he knows. And we seen one with Richarlison. Richarlison peeled off to the back post, and he should have done better. He sort of heads it down. But I think he might have just got caught. But it's that thing of 9 times out of 10, last season, that ball never gets to him.
No.
Whereas now, it could be a case of 7 times out of 10 that ball does get to him. And that's what will be making players excited. But the other side of that is then players have got to start gambling, like you seen before, when he plays that crossfield ball and it goes to Richarlison. Dean yesterday might have thought, I'm not going, but now he might think, I'm going every time. No, I'm going round the back of Richarlison every time, and we're going to overload. And that's what when you watch good sides, that's what they do, because it's worked on every day, and they're all good players, so they're always taking risks.
From City, because it's De Bruyne.
Yeah.
I'm not putting James Rodriguez, I'm not saying he's that, but what I'm saying is, City have that joy, because they've got a player like Kevin De Bruyne who can pick the ball up, and you know that it gets there, so they can gamble, which is why a lot of their goals, it looks dead simple, because they just overload, bum, 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 and it's in the net, and you're like, and when you take it back, it's De Bruyne's pass that's got them in. Spurs are a good side, but I've seen people saying it was Tottenham were poor and this, that and the other. Well, they're as poor as you make them look. Do you know what I mean? I'm watching the Spurs documentary now and the work, and you look at their squad, and you've got a good squad. And Tottenham will be up there, there's no question about it. But Everton yesterday, we played them 8 weeks ago, and once they got the goal, they really just held us off. It was easy for them. They were a better side than us. And yet yesterday, it looked like the total opposite. They looked like they just couldn't get near us.
Well,
well, let's look at the...
Let me just before we look at the... Gary Neville done an interview before the game, Sky.
Yeah.
It was a brilliant interview because he just said, there's no excuses now. And I've got the manager and they've got the players. And he said, we were here, and he said, he basically said it was one of the worst performances I've ever seen.
Did he?
He said they were horrendous. The game was horrendous. He said, but Everton were horrendous. He said, Spurs were there for the taking that night, and Everton didn't lay a glove on them. And he said, so today, he said, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're like because with the players. And I thought that was a really good, marker because obviously, you know, there is expectations and there is that now people looking, because James Rodriguez does that. He brings that now where people go, because we want the attention, but it's what you do when you've got the attention.
Well, whenever we've been given the attention, we panic, we crumble.
Exactly, and that's why I think this game in isolation is really important. Don't forget, first time we've gone to a team in the top 6, like you said, for 40 games and won. You know, first time we've beaten Spurs in years, so...
First away win since the 08-09
Yeah,
season.
so from that point of view, with the attention on us, it was a really big game, and luckily enough, we've got the 3
You're all right now with all the stats I gave you last week on the preview, and you were crying. They're all gone. I said they're there to be broken, didn't I? They were broken. Let's have a look at the actual game stats. You know, there we go. 9 attempts at goal from Spurs, 15 from Everton. Big thing immediately. Spurs were more accurate, 5 on target, Everton 4 on target. 52% to 48 possession. That really spun round in the last 15 minutes when we dropped off on the corners. 5 corners to 3. 15 fouls by Spurs, only 7 fouls by Everton, which again was another key thing, is that we didn't need to go after them and kick them. We were controlling.
I'll tell you what was really good, and it was the 5 minutes after we scored. Possession was something like 73% us.
We got straight.
And I thought that was brilliant. I thought it was a really good indicator of we scored and straight away we got the ball back and kept on doing it.
Well, let's go through the game. The first half, I thought we settled into the game really well in the first 15 minutes. We put the marker down. They were trying to get us on the counter-attack. And then we had the moment with Richarlison. I mean, they had it just before that. Son puts an absolutely wonderful ball in, and if Kane gets a touch, it's 1-0. But you can't do much about that. That's just a great bit of skill. He's great at facing you up and putting that. It's a wonderful ball. But we'll see that. Well, you see that from many teams.
That's only one of the things, isn't it? Playing 4-3-3 like that is that Richarlison will come back all day, but I think we've seen in this game. It's not always going to be the case for James Rodriguez. He's not always going to come back. He did at times.
Yeah.
Got more and more into the game.
He did.
So we've said before, a right back who is an absolute up and down right back is something that's going to be required. But once Seamus Coleman yesterday got through the first 15-20 minutes and got a grip of Son, I thought he was brilliant.
He was.
I think first few minutes they played on him, they were probably like, just
let's get
at him because the other fella's not going to come back. But once he realised that his job was to defend, he did it.
Well, we had the one where it's a fantastic ball. I don't know who it was who played it down the line. Don't know whether it was Alderweireld or Ben Davies. It was a great ball, and they were in. Son was in, and he was beyond Seamus, and we were in trouble. He got back and made that recovery block for a corner, and I think that gave him that bit of confidence that even if he gets away from me, I can catch him. Yeah. And he did. And you're right after that, but there was that one ball, and then we had the Richarlison opportunity. You know, it was a terrible ball, but I think it was Ben Davies again, and Alderweireld was like, I think he thought he'd get there, but Richarlison is quick, and he nicks it past him. And I personally thought at first he should have just hit it because Lloris is on his way out. I thought he should have just bent it, and he didn't. He went round him. And I know he stumbles, but once he's gone round him, he could have slowed the whole thing down. He might have even been able to walk it closer and smash it himself, but Dom's on. And that, to me, will be, when he realises this, it's just as good to get an assist as it is to score a goal, he will go up another level.
I mean, I couldn't believe that, to be honest. I was watching it. As soon as that ball come, I knew he was going to be in. I could see it.
I thought Alderweireld to take him, to be honest.
I knew that he was in. You could see that he was going to... I just thought, having watched him go round the goalkeeper on numerous of times, I think Tim Cahill used the same phrase I used. I would have bet my house on it, that he would have scored. And I don't know what he did. I don't know whether he got too excited and...
No, he stumbles.
Yeah, but the stumble comes from what does the stumble come from? That's what I'm saying. Does he, we've seen him in lots of one-on-one situations where he has it doesn't faze him. But you're right though, once he goes around the keeper, he's got so much time to do whatever he wants. And it's not, you can't go, he'll do this or he'll do that. It's just one of those things, and that would have, I think for a lot of us, we were like, that was the moment. That was the moment. But luckily, it wasn't the moment. Luckily, we've done more.
Like I say, I think there'll be times when he gets that chance again, and hopefully he will realise that a pass square for a tap-in is just as good. I want him to be greedy to score goals, but just in games like that, if you're 3-0 up, then I'd say expect him to take the shot. But there's just time. But listen, he made it himself. And the good thing about it was Everton's the players' heads never went down. That was what I liked about it. We've seen big moments in games in the past where we've missed a chance and you can feel the bubble almost burst. But he didn't. He just kept ticking out. Allan kept getting in. Spurs had 2 great chances, but they came off our corners twice. One, Allan got caught with a bouncing ball.
On that one, do you think, I personally think that Allan thinks that's a foul. In Italy,
but it wasn't.
But in this country, he's not going to get them. No. And that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
That's good, isn't it? Because he's got away with it, but he's got to learn.
First thing is, I saw when you look at him, he feels something and he goes down, and I think in Italy he gets a foul there, but he's not going to get a foul. So straight away, you got to learn from that.
And they break, and obviously, Doucoure does brilliant because he gets back, but Pickford makes, I know you said you expect, but it was a fantastic save for me. 2 hands, good save. And then the second one's a really good bit of play by Spurs. Kane does brilliantly. Luca Dean switches off though. The lad runs past him and he lets him. But Pickford again comes up big with the feet. And I give Jordan Pickford my man of the match because we've criticised him, rightly so, I think, last season. I think at times he was poor. And one of the things we've said on many occasions is, doesn't win us any points. Well, that's 0-0. And if they score, it's a different game. Now, Everton might have still gone on and won the game. We were in control. But that, to me, especially the second one, I understand the first one. It's at a good height, but he makes himself big. But the one from Doherty is a big save.
I expect him to save the both.
That's fair enough, but that's a big save.
No, it is a big save, and I'm not criticising. What I'm saying is, I expect him to save both of them. I think the first one's always rising, and he gets good hands on it, and that's good. But the second one is a great save, but I do expect...
And that gives us the confidence.
But they're the saves I expect them to make. I do.
Okay, fair enough.
The reason why I've never criticised him on his ability, it's his concentration.
I know.
And he was more... I think they've clearly told him that you're not...
I think he knows with Ancelotti that... I think he feels that Ancelotti ultimately doesn't believe he's the number one. And fully, also, I mean, the number one where you go, I don't have to worry about him.
But also with England as well, he's got players on his back in England as well. He knows he's going to go for level.
But that was
both great saves.
Yeah, they were big moments in the game. And in the first half, we had the shot from Richarlison after good work, I think, from James. We had a shot from James when he cuts in onto that left foot and whips it just right. Yerry Mina had the shot which went up, which I didn't mind from about 30. So we got in at 0-0 and you were like, well, we played well there because we did play well. And then we came out in the second half and I think we took it up another level in the second half and we just controlled the game and they looked like they just couldn't get near us. And that was the biggest pleasing thing for me.
There was a proper belief from us, wasn't it? Real belief that all the players trusted what we were doing. The players you brought in, you look at all 3 of them straight away, you looked at them and Allan's doing what he needs to do. Doucoure. The best thing about all 3 players looked like they'd been playing for Everton. Straight in, looked like, and they all complimented.
Good players, mate. That is.
They all complimented the players we already had, and the players you already had, you could see them. And you said it before about Dom in his interview afterwards. It's that idea now of, and this is where it's sink and swim for loads of those players is, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, it strikes me as the type of player who wants to play at the top. So it's, I've got to get better. And if you've got players like that, with that attitude, they will always get better. And you see that every year. You see it on Saturday with Leeds. Team players who've played in the Championship, but you see it every year who teams come up and, you know, see it with Sheffield United last year, players who played every division. And they love it. They want to get better because they're like, well, if I want to play at this level, I've got to get better. The league doesn't stand still for me. And it's the same with a football team. Your team's getting better and better. Do you get better with that team? They had Doherty, who's done the same with Wolves. Now he's gone to Spurs. Do I get better? And I think someone like Dom will want to get better.
But I think the thing with Dom as well is he wants to be Everton's centre forward. I don't think Dominic Calvert-Lewin looks and goes, well, if I do well for another year, I can move on then to United. I think he wants to go, I want to do well with this. I think Holgate is a similar type of character. I want to do well at this club. I want to build this club. You've got Carlo Ancelotti, the manager, and you know James is in there now. And you're right, those players look like they played. And we came out second half, and we had another great crossfield ball from Rodriguez, and Richarlison cuts inside and whips that one. And you're looking and thinking, close that, but he's got it at the target. We then go and get the free kick, which you know. Is a foul. Nobody will moan about it as a foul. They can moan about the dark art of moving the ball forward all day long. Spurs done that all day, kicking people. Højbjerg leaving his studs in on Allan from behind, on a couple of others. Mourinho, it makes me laugh that he focused on that because I'd be embarrassed if I was him for the way me defenders defended the cross. I'd be moving the attention to something else, not that free kick. But we got the free kick. Super ball in by Luca Dean. What the header, sharp, Ferguson, any of them kind of people would have been proud of it. It was a wonderful header, got above. What I liked about it was he's up against Alderweireld, who I think's brilliant, and Dyer, who's a big lads, don't take any messing, and he's just gone, I'm having that, and got it right above them. It was like Ferguson. It was a fantastic header, top corner, Lloris with no chance.
Keep it in move.
Absolutely, it was past him. Yeah. It was that quick. It was like a shot, the header. It was past him before he knew it.
It's aggression, that though, isn't it? It's all pure aggression. Those two hardly got off the ground, and Dom's above them, and he's powered into the top corner. And then what makes you laugh is all the criticism Dominic Calvert-Lewin gets is just it's laughable. I see it in the comments every week on our videos. What about a new striker? What about a new striker? I tell you what, right? If Dominic Calvert-Lewin had missed the chances Richarlison had missed, and I'm not saying Richarlison had a bad game because I thought he was brilliant out on the left. His finish, his work rate and the amount of tackles he won was spectacular.
Work rate, you can get work rate from anyone.
No.
I love Richarlison.
You can't.
I love Richarlison, but he wasn't at his best yesterday.
He missed chance. He was brilliant apart from his finishing. He worked so hard. He left them for dead so many times. But the finishing was abysmal. It was abysmal to get it right. And if Dominic Calvert-Lewin had missed those chances, the grief he would have got. And yet he got one real chance and he put it away. He had a couple of others, stung the palm with the keeper, both on target. That's what you do. That's what you do. But he got the one chance and he left. Eric Dyer's head is bigger than me. That's how big a lad he is. And he powered that in. So all these people with this nonsense about Championship striker and all this and all that. The lad didn't score in the entire time of lockdown. It doesn't. I don't think he wants to score.
Still have 15
but
goals.
It's the confidence of what he wants to do, what he wants to be.
Played 2 pre-season games, scored in both of them. Scored the winner yesterday. There's no thingy for me with him. Is there better strikers out there than Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Yes, there are. But to get better strikers than Dominic Calvert-Lewin, you'll spend a lot of money. Colin Wilson went last week and people were going, they've had him. Dom scored twice as many goals as him last season and is 6 years younger or something. So I've got no issue with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's fantastic centre forward. I'm all for bringing better players in. If we can get better than Dom, fine, go and get him. But that doesn't mean we cast Dom aside either. Yeah. Dom is for what we use him for and we need him for. He's quick, he's strong, he's getting better every year. Brilliant in the air. No issue with him. And It was a fantastic goal, and you said it before then. We scored, we got the ball straight away, we were back on them again. Richarlison then has another chance, and again, he's got to hit the target, cuts back in, and you're thinking, at least, if you hit the target, you've scored. He's going for that far corner. If it's on target, Lloris isn't getting it.
I think with more games under the belts, I think more players will start breaking into the box there. I think
Hammers had one.
We had one
cut back for him that he should have.
But there was only on that one. There was only Richarlison who was just getting into the box, and James Rodriguez. I think we'll get to a point where, hopefully, where Dean starts going on the outside, like I said, Doucoure or Andre Gomez start going, or whoever's playing, and they start joining in, give us more options. Because I think that was the only thing with Richarlison, is that when he did get those chances, every time he was looking to do the same thing, which was curl it round, and we've seen him do that loads of times. Yeah. But I hope that as the team grows, that those options start presenting themselves, so that it's not always that shot, it's not always obvious what he's going to try and do. Because if he's trying to do the same thing 2, 3, 4 times, people are going to get onto it. The keeper.
But you said before, though, hopefully, as the season goes and we get a bit fitter as well, Luca Dean will then go on the outside, and then people are stuck then. Do we go with him or do we face him up? And if they don't and he slips Luca Dean in, that pass back to him is in. So I had no issue with him shooting. It's just I want him to be hitting the target, because he got himself into areas that I'd expected Charlison to score. And you look at that game, Everton could have ran out. In the end, we probably should have ran out 3-0 winners, because he's missed chances that he normally scores.
At least we were going to try and kill the game off. We were going to try and get the second goal. It wasn't a case of everyone get back now, because when you've got a midfield that is mobile, that can get up and down. We've seen one where we had a corner and they broke, and it's Doucoure getting his toe in on the halfway line and just knocking it back to the goalkeeper.
Important.
But that's the kind of trust, isn't it? Because that's the things that, all right, that goes from the first half where you get done, where suddenly someone sees it and says, "This is what we need to start doing." But when you've got a midfield that can get up, I mean, I thought Andre Gomez, you seen him yesterday, just looked a different player, just using his body, using his body brilliantly, like when we first seen him come in. Not someone who's just, not going to use the word moping, but that's what it felt like at times last season.
I think what you look at with Everton's, I mean, we seen a shot from Seamus Coleman, which was a cracking shot. Okay, it was straight at Lloris, but either corner, it'd put him in trouble. But with our midfield players, everyone had the same profile last season. What I mean by that is, technically they're all, well, Gomez is excellent on the ball, we know that, but Sigurdsson's a good footballer, just not mobile. Tom Davies is a decent footballer, but he hasn't got any kind of mobility, which struggles, which means that if you lose the ball, we're in trouble, which is why I tend to think why people don't like him, because he's fallen over looking for a foul. But either one of them could go in with 2 mobile lads and look better. Gomez was the perfect example of that yesterday. Sent home by Portugal last weekend because apparently he wasn't fit enough. Plays yesterday, looked really good. Can he get better? Of course he can. And will he have to get better? Yes, he will. Because a lot of it was style over substance, really, yesterday. But I thought he was a lot more controlled in possession, and he helped us. And what he does is he buys you that time, because he'll keep hold of it. Even when Gylfi Sigurdsson come on, I thought he'd done his job well, because he had the 2 lads behind him. And they'll get fitter as the season goes, of course they will. But there was no real, if you think about after the goal, what did Tottenham, I don't even know if Pickford had a say to make second half. I can't remember.
He made a couple of good punches, one really good punch that he got out the box.
And there was one great catch as well
towards the end. But everything they had was speculative.
Yeah.
We got men round the ball, round the box, bodies between the ball, play. There was times when I was like, don't put a foot in, don't put a foot in, don't put a foot in, but he didn't. He just, because we had so many players in the box, we didn't have to panic. No. And I think that was the main thing. There was a discipline as well. There was a discipline to us, because everyone knew the jobs. And with the 2 centre-backs being the kind of centre-backs they are, more like blockers and stoppers than people, we weren't letting space behind us. And it worked really well. The only disappointing thing is that we didn't make it more comfortable because we deserve, and that's only because we deserve to.
We deserve to play the last 15, 20 minutes out with the game in the bag, really. That's the way it was. Tottenham will probably, will get better, of course, but so will we. You know, I think you looked at that yesterday. You're watching it, you know how many times you watched Everton and you can feel the sway of the game going and you know what's coming. Never had that yesterday. Yeah. Only thing was in injury time, I was thinking, don't concede a stupid goal because we don't deserve to. They haven't done anything. If we don't win this game, it'll be so frustrating because we deserve to win.
We did tire, and that's what you said before about the possession. We did tire, and obviously the level of the subs is always going to be important. But I thought that was interesting as well. Like, just when you brought the subs on, you knew that for Gylfi to come on, I don't mind that Gylfi is, he did lose the ball a couple of times, which annoyed me.
Well, he done a couple of silly things, like a cushioned header on the edge of the box, which give them balls back, which don't take chances. But he worked.
So he was all right, but then it was like Tom and Moise Keane came on, and it's Moise Keane. You smash it up the line,
but he had one where he cut in at the shot block, didn't he?
But for me now, those subs, you look at them and go, yous have got to come on now, and yous have got to perform. And this is something about Moise Keane. Moise Keane comes on the left, and this is where you've got to say now to play. Don works himself into the ground, then Richarlison goes up front, and he wins as a clever foul in the last minute to see it out. Those subs now have got to come on, and they've got to really
impact the game.
Make an impact because there's other players that but Walcott doesn't come on, Bernard doesn't come on, there's players.
Gordon didn't even get in the 18.
Gordon's not on
started games.
So.
And we'll get other players.
Those other players are going to have to really fight now because the three players who come in, they're in the side. Their places are in the side. They've not come in to make the numbers up. They're in the team.
If you're in that Everton squad now and you're looking at that side, you're out the team. You're looking at Allan. You're looking at Doucoure. You're looking at James, and you're going, I don't see where I get in here. But for someone like Gylfi, I guess you're looking at Andre Gomez then and going, right, Gomez is a really good player, and when he's on his game, he gets into that team, of course, he does because he's more comfortable than anyone else on the ball. But we know that he can have dips, so that's the area you target, so you've got to be the next best person to get in. The beauty of what it does as well is the makeup of these players means that systems can be altered, systems can be changed. I look at a situation, what I would love, and I don't know whether this will happen, but obviously now there'll be a few Everton players today who will be in training, who will have gone into, I know they're doing the recovery and stuff, but there'll be players who weren't involved yesterday. A couple of them who might be looking and going, I want to get out the door, I'm not going to get in here now because they're good players, it's going to be difficult, I want to play. And if we can get those players out the door, I would love us to go and get another winger, maybe on loan, because what it would do, would it mean that James could come and play inside as well, maybe in the Gomez role or whatever, just to give us that extra option so that we've got a flying winger. We could still do it, we could still employ Walcott out there or Balassi if he's still here, whatever, and mix it up that way, but I just think if we could get another one, I think it altered the way we played as well, because it'd allow us at times to go to 4-4-2. It'd allow us at times to play a 4-3-3, making me yawn here, to play a 4-3-3, but with a high winger. But I think one of the things I did see yesterday was, at times, I'm looking at Seamus, who I thought was brilliant, but we may need that right winger, that right fullback who can, especially against teams who are going to sit deep and go, right, break us down. We might need someone to go on the outside. So it's going to be interesting. But obviously, I don't think we've got to highlight the players that, let's start with Allan, who came in and, can he get better? Of course he can. It's his first game coming into a new side in a new league. Yeah. But he gave us that discipline in the six. He gave us, 73 touches of the ball, 46 successful passes, 20 successful forward passes, successful long balls, 3. Passing accuracy, 84%, 8 ball recoveries, 4 successful tackles. I think he went in for 8. So 50% successful tackle rate. That's about right for a centre mid. 3 clearances. Suffered fouls, 3, 2 interceptions, and 1 successful dribble, which was really good. It was one when he carried out of midfield for us, which we haven't seen from our team. But I think what I liked about Allan yesterday, I know people give him man of the match. I think he gave him Gary Neville.
Yeah.
He sat in there and he was just that screen, and it wasn't always about what he did, but it was just the fact that sometimes it was keeping it simple. It was knocked in, use the body, lay it back off. He was in the right position at the right time. He's a good passer of the ball going the other way. He put one great ball to Dom, and Dom I don't think expected it.
No,
went a different way. Whereas if he would have looked, he was in. And it was just that ability to pass it from, I think Andy would call it a progressive pass, 40 yards, 30 yards through. But it's knowing that he's there. How many times did he come round, just nick the ball and take it? It's that
I love this round the corner passes up the line.
Oh.
He did that two or three times, but every time he nicked it and then sent it round, and it always gave the option, always got them turning all the time.
Or he went and popped up on the right. He'd like knock it and then go on the outside of Coleman and be on for another pass, and you're like, that's great, mate, but what about? But he knew it's that thing of
being a good
knowing
player.
exactly where, well, being a good player, but knowing exactly where to be. Knowing what the manager expects of you and going and putting it. And it's very easy to see why the manager wanted them.
Yeah.
When you look at what we've got, what we had, it's very, very easy to see why the manager wants them, because he knows what he'll do, he knows what he can do. And like I said, he'll get sharper. He'll have to at times, like you said before, with the bouncing ball that Spurs broke from, and he thinks it's a foul. Yeah. He's got to realise that you're not always going to get that here, or if you're going to try and get the foul, you have to be cleverer with it. But the players, you can see the players, the centre backs, what they'd like to with him, going and covering Seamus at times, just everywhere really. And I don't know, were you encouraged by the fact that he come in and perform like that on day one?
Yeah, he's been at the club a week. Him and Doucoure have been at the club, and I know we're going to finish off talking about James Rodriguez, but they've been at the club the week, and I was thinking, funny because the three of them started, I was thinking about the last time we had so many debutants on day one. And it was, I think it was Koeman's.
Stoke, when was it?
So I think we had 4 that day, did we? Sandro Rooney, Klassen and Michael Keane.
Yeah.
I think that's right. We had 4 that day. But I was thinking about how that team fitted together.
Pickford as well, maybe.
Pickford, yeah, it'd be 5, wouldn't it? So, it didn't fit together.
No.
That was the whole point. It didn't fit together. When I watched Allan and Doucoure together, just those two, it was just the way they worked together, and how Andre Gomez's game complemented their game, and how all 3 of them were different types of midfielders, but yeah, the 3 you sort of need if you want to be competitive. Allan, funny enough, when I said he reminds me of Stephen Pienaar. His stature and everything is just like, even when I look at him, he looks like he's got like that low centre of gravity, the socks, everything went from a distance. He just looks like Stephen Pienaar, but obviously, he's the one who understands where to be and to get it and to give it the wall pass, but also the person who just gets himself. At times, he didn't even tackle anyone. He just stood between the ball and the opposition and let somebody else take the ball away.
Or made them have to shift it and play it wide.
So, and then Doucoure got the legs, can get around the pitch, all action. Anything in the air, he's up there, taking on the chest. And then you've got Gomez, who's got a little bit of the silk.
Yeah.
And just moved it along. And what I like Gomez yesterday, he was in little areas where you thought, you can't get out of this. And then he just do a little turn with his body, use the strength, and he was away, and then give it, and that to me is what that makeup's supposed to be. And it was funny because I talked about it on my match reaction. It was like, did this formation come from the players he wanted to bring in, the philosophies he wanted to use? Was it because he brought James in? He says in his book he wouldn't change from 4-4-2 unless it was for an exceptional player. It's going to be interesting moving forward, just because just because seems to be a plan.
But that's
and it's been a while.
I mean, I think I said this to you the other week when I'd looked at Allan. He's like a Peter Reid type player for us.
But that's hard to describe to people because
it is.
Was so
people
far...
who haven't seen it. But what I meant by that was Peter Reid was an incredible footballer. He was brilliant. He wasn't like a silky, messy type, but he was just a brilliant footballer. But he'd go and set the tempo. So intelligent. And at times, he'd dribble past people because he had that ability. Wasn't lightning, but over 5 yards, he was quick. But he'd always calm, and he'd calm things down. But he also had a little bit of steel. And I'm not saying he's exactly the same as Reid, but Peter Reid was the type of midfielder you watched and you felt calm that he was in your midfield because he knew where to be.
Yeah.
And that's what I got the feeling from Allan yesterday. He was like, he knows what his job is. He knows what he's doing. Nobody needs to try to break it down for him and go, look, this is what... He was calm in possession. He went and put fires out. He went and had a look and went, yeah, this is what I need. I need to be over here or I need to be here. I can play it long, I can play it short. And that was the biggest thing for me. And I think, it's everybody's put the level down now yesterday for me. That's the marker. And so you need to repeat that more often than not. The other player, obviously, making his debut was James Rodriguez. And Doucoure was fantastic, by the way, but we're going to focus on these two, and I'm sure we'll be big in Doucoure up next week because he's that good. But James Rodriguez, 74 touches of the ball, 3 shots, 47 successful passes, 11 successful attack and third passes, 5 chances created, which was a record. The last one to create that many, I think he equalled the record, was on his debut, was Alexis Sanchez in 2014. He created 5 chances, 11 successful long balls, 84% passing accuracy, 5 ball recoveries, 4 interceptions, 2 successful dribbles, and was fouled twice. And Joe's put it there, a class debut. It was a class debut. It was a debut where you watch a player on your team and you almost look and just think, oh my God, what a footballer. Now, again, I feel like he can get better. I don't know whether this is... I don't want to go overboard about any... I know I don't, because we've had situations before where we get excited and it isn't what it is. But just as a footballer, technique and ability, he's incredible. Left foot is fun, and left-footed players are great anyway, but it's fantastic natural ability. He ghosted by players as if they weren't there. Like I said before, he wasn't afraid to put a tackle in. He cut inside on that left foot and whipped that shot. I want to see him do that more because I feel like he'll get us goals from that position. But the pass to Richarlison, second half, almost wasn't even on. And he's dropped it over the top of Eric Dyer, I think, and or it might have been Doherty, and the defenders jumped and just put Richie off. He really should have just been thinking about knocking it back across the box where Don was, but he's gone for the dime dead and got it wrong. But you said it before, those two strikers now will see him with that left foot and go, I can make a run here because he's got the ability to find me. And it was just a lovely... I think he put it up on our Twitter last night, his touches in the game. When you watch it back, it's 2.5 minutes, I think. You watch it, you forget little things. We just flicked it over someone's head and always in control of the ball. Gary Neville said in the commentary, he manipulates the ball that well. Yeah. Players can't get near him. And it was weird seeing an Everton player. It shows how starved we've been. Yeah. Seeing an Everton player, proper footballer, manipulating the ball and you can't get near him. Incredible. And it was just it was a brilliant debut and it was a pleasure to watch him. That's all I can say. I was amazed he'd done 90. But what a lot of Colombian people who've been on our YouTube have been saying to us is he just needs to play. He's fabulous. And when you watch him, you go, what a fantastic player.
The moments I liked most from the game was when one of their players kicked him.
Yeah.
He didn't go down. He actually went down and then got up and kept on going with the ball. And I thought,
well, he's not a diver. Yeah.
He doesn't look. No,
no, that's what I'm saying.
But no, he's not a diver. He didn't take touches and go flying. He's played in Europe long enough. But I just loved all his little, just all the ways he manipulated the ball. And as the manager said, if you wanted someone with pace, he would have brought in Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not about being a flying winger, because he's not a winger. He's in a position where, at the moment, we like you said before, maybe he'll go central, and maybe that's where he'll play in that position where Andre Gomez was, if he can do that in the Premier League. But he just looked a class apart, and I think everyone who watched the game could see he was the best player on the pitch, easily the best player on the pitch, and that's what we've brought in. We've brought in a very, very talented footballer, and the manager knows how to use him. He loves the manager. Hopefully he's going to love Everton. Hopefully our players are going to respond to him in the right way and start to understand if they make a run, he'll find them. And the other thing about that as well is if other players raise their game as well, if we go into situations where we're playing the opposition like, oh, you're going to have to mark him out the game, then other players take that opportunity and grasp the space that is offered to them, because, you know, teams are deciding to try and mark him out the game. So, listen, look, this is, for me, the first time in a long time we've had an absolute class player. I think when we used to talk about, like, when people ask us about brilliant players, and we'd say someone like Andre Kanchelskis, and people would, like, see the goals, and you were like, yeah, but you didn't understand, it was effortless.
Yeah.
It was effortless what Andre Kanchelskis used to do. He used to shift it, and he was gone, and that's why he was amazing. That's the difference. Sometimes you watch players and go, oh, they're great players, but you don't understand how effortless it is to watch a great player. Takes you, you know, when we had Rooney when he first came in, and how everything was just instinctive and off the cuff, and
even when he come back at times, you see in the class. He didn't have the legs necessarily, but you see in the class of Rooney, it'd be a touch, it'd be a pass, it'd be all of that. But it didn't. It's the explosiveness had gone, but the class was still there. We haven't seen enough of that with players. I mean, let's have a look at some of these comments quickly before we go. Gary Doherty says, absolutely buzzing after that win. F all the Sky pundits and their narrative. Us against the world. Stu Haler says, how much did this guy want Spurs to win? But we give it to them. David Havel says, Jose can moan all he wants about moving the free kick up 5 yards, but those are the little things we have to start doing if we want to get an edge. We've been too nice for the last few years. Bill says, not to put a dampener on a great start and superb performance, but with Holgate out for up to 3 months, will we go in for centre-back cover? I worry if Mina is out, we are short. Well, they are trying to get Tamori, aren't they, from Chelsea, so they are looking at that. Keith Powell says 15 shots away from home. When was the last time that happened? Especially against a top, a good side like Spurs. Graham Price said, like you've said many times, Baz, this side needed a couple of decent players. It's okay, it's only the first game, but all three played their part in lifting the team's level. William Gilligan says that tackle from Doucoure on Lucas Moura, bellissimo. Ruse says, Stoke with the performance, still going to be cautiously optimistic going forward, but couldn't be happier with a start like that. Obviously would have loved more goals. I've never seen a better debut for three players collectively in a team. Allan has the Everton DNA. Brian Gardner had got used to falling asleep at half-time because of the poor performance we served up. I watched the highlights first thing this morning to make sure it wasn't just wishful thinking. William Gilligan says, not half glad we didn't get Højbjerg. He's dreadful. I think Højbjerg will be all right for them. I just think...
I'm not bothered. He's there playing.
No, he does a job at that, at doing what he does, but I'm glad we've got Allan. John Chapman says, how do the kits fit this year? I'm a medium, this fits.
I don't even know why you've answered that question.
No, because he's just asking, he's a new patron, so I'm just answering it. They fit well. But it was a brilliant win, and now, I guess, going into the next two games, we've got two big games this week, Salford in the Cup and West Brom at home at the weekend.
Yeah.
And if we can win both of them, then we'll have had a seriously good week. So, but what a performance for day one.
Brilliant start. Off to the perfect start in the Premier League.
Do you want top of the league?
No, stop it. I don't want to hear any of that nonsense.
I'm
just happy with the win.
Yeah.
And on to the next one on Wednesday, which is going to be interesting to see who's involved in that ahead of Saturday's home game to West Brom. So there you go. Thank you for joining us. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to watch the final words live, then get over to Patreon. The link is in the description. We do live shows every day. Leave your comments on the game, on James Rodriguez as well. Fantastic debut, fantastic. Or how did our Colombian watching friends or our Spanish speaking friends that don't understand anything we're saying, how did you feel about watching Everton for the first time? If it was your first time watching Everton, let us know in the comments as well. Give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and as you said, join us on Patreon where we are live every single day. There you go. Thanks for watching. See you later.
Adios.